Hi, remember me? Yeah, it's been a minute. Sorry about that. I tend to make videos whenever I feel inspired to do so. It's been a long time, I know. Sorry. Obviously, today's video is inspired by that popular TikTok trend that's been spreading around like a wildfire, the we listen and we don't judge trend. If you're not familiar with it, it's really just a bunch of people confessing some embarrassing things that they might have done just in life, but really specifically the ones that I've seen have been pertaining to like relationships in the past. Disclaimer for this video, this is accumulation of red flags that I ignored at the time of them happening. This list is in no specific order and it ranges from the ages of when I was like 14 to whenever. This isn't about just one specific person. If you see a common theme with some of them, it's probably about the same person. You'll tell as the video goes on, but just wanted to do a super informal, lighthearted video because I think this trend is hilarious. And I also think that for some odd reason, people feel a lot of shame or guilt when it comes to their failures when it's like dating. But the thing is, y'all, you're not born knowing how to date. That's just something that you learn as you grow and you experience it firsthand. So I really don't respect those type of people that are too judgmental when it comes to other people's dating experiences. If you're the one dating those people, live and you learn. Like, you won't know until you know. So I'll never be that type of person that's like, oh my God, how could you do that? Unless it's like obviously like a reoccurring pattern. But even then, according to this list, I have no room to talk. Y'all know I have a bad history of dating. So I am literally not one to judge, and I don't like when other people judge because how are you more mad than I am? And I'm the one that experienced all these mishaps. Starting off hot with this one, he had a newborn, but just got out of a relationship with his baby mama. Like, baby was fresh. And he wanted to say that, oh, he just got out of a relationship with his baby mama. And I believed it. I believed it. We listen and we don't judge. I was young and I was naive. He used to be in a fraternity. I thought that because he used to be in a fraternity that he was exempt from all the fraternity stereotypes that exist. You know, the stereotypes that they're all just immature and sinister. Well, turns out he was all of those things, immature and sinister. I have not ever heard a positive dating experience from anyone that dated a guy that was in a fraternity. Every single story that I've heard from anyone that's ever talked to or dated someone that was in a fraternity has always been terrible or traumatic. Thankfully, mine wasn't really traumatic. It was a waste of time, to be honest. But we listen and you could judge that one. That one was stupid. I'll take the blame for that one. I was being dumb. For this next one, this red flag that I ignored was he could not keep a job for longer than 2 to 3 months at most. And he would always start arguments around the holiday season or for upcoming birthdays so that he wouldn't have to spend money on said celebration. But he always somehow had money for, yeah, he had no money. He was broke, couldn't afford shit. But when it came to, he always had money. I've never in my life witnessed or seen another person that had fiend as hard as this person had fiend for some. If he had applied the motivation that he used to scavenge for money for his habit, and he applied that to him keeping and holding a job, he would be a successful man. We listen and we don't judge. For this next one, a red flag to me that this person had that I ignored at first was that his ex was Nigerian. Yeah, this was not information that I ever asked. I never asked if his ex was Nigerian, but somehow, some way, it came out that she was Nigerian. And then I started to think like, are you a Nigerian chaser? Like, cause he was not Nigerian at all. Like, at all. I don't know, I was just kind of like, Did you specifically scout me out because I'm Nigerian? Do you have like a thing for Nigerian women? Are you fetishizing Nigerian women? That was just what was going on through my head, and it was confirmed. But anyways, I just found that very odd. Like, he had a very specific and niche type, and I just felt like at the time he was probably trying to get over his Nigerian ex with another Nigerian bitch. No, we listen and we don't judge. It's just so niche. Like, why Nigerians specifically? Like, you couldn't go for a Ghanaian, a rich kid. Like, you know, it just was off-putting to me. So I was like, noted. And like I said, my concerns were confirmed. Hopefully that makes sense. I might just sound like a crazy person. And I admit, I'm not perfect, but guess what? I'm in therapy. I'm getting the help that I need. Another red flag that I've ignored in the past was he just got out of a 2 to 3 year relationship 3 months ago. And a lot of men tend to do this. They tend to try to go back into the field after getting out of a long-term ass relationship, and they think that 2 to 3 months is enough time to heal. It's not. I shouldn't have ignored this red flag. I think I was honestly probably bored and needed entertainment. Obviously, it didn't go nowhere because, sir, heal. You needed to heal. We listen and we don't judge. Next red flag that I blatantly ignored was he had daddy issues. And this applies to multiple people on this list. Whenever I've encountered a guy that has deep-rooted daddy issues, it's always been traumatic. To some degree. A man with unhealed daddy issues is never gonna love you the way that you wanna be loved, is never gonna respect you the way that you deserve to be respected, unless they're actively healing and changing those deep-rooted issues that they're personally going through. If they're not and they're in their unhealed stage, prepare for the wildest ride of your life. Stay away from anyone with deep-rooted daddy issues, especially if their daddy abandoned them when they were younger. Good luck to you. Next red flag that I shouldn't have ignored was he continuously talked down on people that worked regular 9-to-5s. Like, anyone that was in a corporate job, whatever, he would talk down on them. He was obsessed with, like, you know, being his own boss and making his own money and not working for the man. Mind you, this is the same person that could not hold a job for 2 to 3 months. So we obviously know where this criticism is coming from, but I just found it hypocritical of him to be judging people who can keep a job, have benefits, a salary, all that, for someone who is trying to find pennies and quarters in between couches in order to pay for his addiction. So I don't know. We listen, you could judge me for that. This next one, crazy. Absolutely insane. You could absolutely judge me for this, but trust and believe, things ended shortly after this whole debacle. This person, he only had 90 followers on Instagram, but followed over 1,000 people. And 90% of the people that he was following were very voluptuous OF models, obviously accounts. And when I confronted him on it, he made it seem like it was just too much of a hassle to unfollow those accounts. And he wasn't willing to do it right away. Also, bonus points, he also had a separate Twitter account for his hentai. Obviously, this person was dealing with some inner demons. My mind is still struggling to wrap itself around that. Like, how could one person be so addicted to where you follow over 1,000 accounts that are related to... Are you okay? This was also the same person that had the Nigerian ex, FYI. That's when I confirmed that he was fetishizing me. And I clocked that after seeing his followers or his following, because I'm like, okay, you obviously have a very specific and niche type. Very frightening, very scary. Seek help, God bless. Ended shit real quick after that though. This next red flag, every time I think about it, I literally get goosebumps and I cringe just because of how unserious this one is. This guy's red flag was he would constantly do this face. Like, I can't even do it. Like if he was joking around with me, he would be like he would stick out his tongue, but not all the way. He would do like a little, are you a lizard? But also it was like too late at that point for me to do too much judgment on him because I was in love with him at this point. And I never said anything about it either. I think he thought he was looking sexy. Moving on. Oh God, this one was when I was like 15 years old. I was just starting to, you know, interact with the opposite sex. I had a thing for bad boys at this time. This person's red flag that I ignored was he was fresh out of juvie. I knew him before juvie though. And I remember one time we were hanging out. Yeah, he was showing me his fight videos from school and showed me his Uzi in the car. If you don't know what an Uzi is, search it up. I don't know where he is to this day. I hope he didn't end up in jail, but I feel like he might have. He was crazy as fuck, y'all. He was crazy. But I was so flattered that when he was in juvie, he would message me. That one was very short-lived, thank God. This next red flag was he would never fill his gas tank all the way. One time he gave me the excuse that, oh, it messes up the car if you fill it up all the time. But in reality, this is just the same person that couldn't hold a job for longer than 2 to 3 months. So in reality, he just didn't have enough money. And if he did have enough money to fill his gas tank, he would still just fill it up halfway to save the rest of his money for, once again, his habit. This one's kind of sad, but we listen to me, don't judge. This specific person, the universe had sent me endless signs. And if this one was not a blatant sign for me to leave and run, I don't know what is. This red flag that obviously didn't stop me from continuing to date this person was I legitimately cried with his mother. Like his mother was crying to me about what a terrible person her son is and how he's just like his daddy. I don't know why that didn't convince me right then and there. If your own mama is crying to me, telling me how you're a shitty person and that I deserve better, I definitely should have listened and ended things right then and there. Next red flag that I blatantly ignored was he would go through my phone when I was asleep. Yeah. And sometimes when we wake up the next day, my phone would be out of its charging socket and would be like with him. And I'd be like, how did my phone end up there? I had started a notes list on my phone of like all the terrible things he had done to me in order to help kind of prepare myself mentally to be done with the relationship, give myself the courage that I needed to leave this relationship once and for all. This man, when I was sleeping, would go onto my phone and delete the list. Every time I added something new on there, he would go onto my phone when I was sleeping and he would delete shit from my list. Shameless. Shameless. Crazy work. This man just did not give a fuck. He did not care. Next red flag that should have taken more seriously, because this is very creepy. Don't ever do this to anyone. He would show up to places that I would frequently go to or that where I was at when we would be on one of our breaks. Luckily, God and the universe were protecting me from ever seeing him do this weird shit, but he admitted to me when we get back together, he's like, yeah, you know, I would drive around hoping that I'd see you. This is the same ex that would go through my phone and delete my list, by the way, obviously, if it wasn't obvious enough. One of the red flags that I shouldn't have ignored is one time when we were at Walmart and he needed to buy some laundry detergent. I witnessed him grab 2 bottles of laundry detergent, and we were in the aisle and he kind of looked around a little bit, and then he proceeded to open both of them up and pour one into the other in order to increase the amount of detergent that was in the bottle. Yeah, in the moment when I witnessed that, I was just shocked because I have never witnessed that level of brokenness before and just dedication. Like, this person was super dedicated to not spending his own money because he didn't have any. And so just seeing that was kind of like, are you for real right now? You don't got a little $5 to pay for the jug? Or this next red flag. This one is the same person that had the newborn infant but was newly single, okay? I would have to encourage him to go and see his child. I'd be like, hey, we're hanging out a lot. When are you going to go take care of your kid? You're not gonna see your kid this week? I don't know if I should say that. Should I say this? I was a child at this point too, actually, but it was just crazy to me. I'm like, why am I at this point in my life? This was years ago. Brain obviously not developed enough. Why am I more responsible than you, the person with a child? Why am I encouraging you to go see your child? Crazy work. Crazy work. Next red flag that I shouldn't have ignored was he talked negatively of other women in order to hype me up. Ladies, if you ever experience this, run. If a guy has to put down another woman in order to hype you up, I don't think he liked women like that. But with this person that I experienced this with, he absolutely treated me the worst that I've ever experienced in my entire life. I really chalk it up to the fact that he just honestly does not like women. He cannot be positive about a woman, about me, without still throwing in some negative shots to other women. Maybe I'm just taking this statement personally. Maybe I'm not, I don't care. This next red flag that I considered a red flag at the time was he said, this was on our second date, mind you, and he was like, you know, I like that you're low maintenance. What do you mean by that? Define low maintenance. Mind you, second date and last, low maintenance. You're either calling me ugly or basic or both. That's what I hear when I say you're low maintenance. You're low maintenance. I'm glad you're low maintenance. It means you're looking for a bitch that you don't even have to try hard for. And I don't want to give off that vibe. If I've ever given off that vibe, let me reintroduce myself. Is he calling me ugly? What is he trying to say? That I don't need much? That I'm simple, basic? It was a red flag to me because obviously you're not trying to try hard in a relationship or in your courtship with a woman. What the fuck are we doing? We might as well just be friends. He was lazy, and he self-admittedly told me later on that one of his relationships ended because he never planned shit.
Oh, wow.
Goodbye. Last, but certainly not least on my list of red flags that I have previously ignored is he was funnier than me. This might not make sense to you, but it makes perfect sense to me. I think I'm a hilarious person. Obviously, I'm biased. Obviously, you may not agree with me, and obviously, that's okay, I don't care. But whenever I find a man to be funnier than me, that's a red flag. Because to be funny, to be witty, you have to be an intelligent person. And if you're funnier than I am, you are super intelligent. But usually men that are that funny, there's something sinister behind it. They're super sinister. I've never encountered a man that was funnier than me that was not sinister. And this is probably just my personal experience. I don't care. There's something sinister. I do not trust it. I don't trust it. When a woman's intelligent, right, she uses it for the greater good. She tries to give back to the community. When a man's intelligent, he thinks, how can I take advantage of a situation? And so that's where the red flags start going off in my head personally. You don't have to agree with me, I don't care. I fear that you might use that intelligence for evil rather than good. That's my explanation for it. I'm not gonna over-explain it anymore. If you take it to heart, I'm so sorry. Those are all the red flags that I could think of. I definitely have way more red flags that I've blatantly ignored in my dating world. Some of them I can't say on camera because it's too embarrassing. Others that I don't mind talking about. If you would like to see more red flags that I've ignored, let me know. I don't mind making a part 2. But also let me know, what experiences have you had where you ignored a red flag that maybe you didn't notice that it at the moment until after things were all said and done. Let me know, what red flags have you encountered? Do you relate to any of these? Some of these are super niche, like with the broke ones. Like I said, dating is a learning experience. You live and you learn. You physically have to do it in order to know right from wrong, respectful to disrespectful. It's a judgment-free zone is essentially what I'm saying. But thank you for watching. If you want to see more, here's some other videos that I have. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.